Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's 5 minutes past the hour on this 15th day, 15th day of September. Oh my God, we're in the middle of the month of September. Before you know it, 2025 will be nothing but history. 2026 is on the horizon. It will be here before you know it. It is hashtag truth be told / JD Live. Your good morning. Get up, wake up, early morning shot of some good vibes early in the morning. We're back. We're back in studio after doing a West Coast tour of the San Joaquin Valley. We were all in the San Joaquin Valley, got the chance to go to the Sequoia National Park and see all that good nature. Uh, we were taking on the Southern University Jaguars, we were taking on Fresno State at Fresno State. We're in Fresno and got a chance to see the great city of Fresno, Fresno County, which I did not know has 1 million people living in it. When you think about California, you think Fresno, you think that area, you think agriculture, you think fields, and they have a lot of fields, a lot of agriculture going on around there. And really had a great time out in California. Big ups to all the people who showed us love in the Cali area. We were doing our thing. We went back to Cali. We did so. We really did. And had a great time. Had a wonderful time. But we're back in studio for this week. Welcome to hashtag Truth Be Told. I'm never in here by myself. I tell y'all, when you see me, you're gonna see somebody else. I promise you, you're gonna see somebody else. Y'all give it up from MIAO. My brother Bowtie himself, Antonio Cope is in the building. Good morning, Skylar. How you doing this morning, sir?
I'm doing all right this morning. I just ain't have a great weekend, Joe.
Me neither. My weekend was horrible. My weekend was hot. The only team this weekend that did me proud was my alma mater, Grambling State University. I like to give them a round of applause because they put a smile on my face. But Southern lost, the Steelers lost, the Cowboys won. It was a horrible. Tennessee
Yeah.
lost. I was like, Lord have mercy. I just can't. LSU though, the LSU Tigers. Now LSU came through. I know it wasn't good for you.
Nah.
We had barbecue. We had barbecued
Barbecue Gators. Yeah, I seen it.
and
I
Gators
seen they had
and
a
pecan and sauce pecan Gators and all that good stuff. Gators were
they
on
had
the
they had a
grill.
whole barbecue gator competition. I think they had like 14 people in the competition, but yeah, the Gators lost, the Dolphins lost, even my high school lost. But yeah, it wasn't.
I
But
say,
I supposed to be banned. I made a promise to someone I would talk about football for 4 days, but
okay, so hold on. It's 8 minutes past the hour. We're gonna leave that alone. Um, you know, we're in a climate, and I really don't want to give too much fuel to the fire. I don't know why people, once again, people are getting death threats. People, HBCUs are on high alert and over stuff we had absolutely nothing to do with. And once again, what I tell folks is it's the nature of people. 9 minutes past the hour. Um, I did not know. I'm just going to say this best way I can say it. I was not following. I was not in the atmosphere of speaking to people about. Tragically, this individual lost their life to senseless gun violence, but a lot of people lose their life to senseless gun violence on a daily basis in the United States of America. For us not to all of a sudden, and we're still not talking responsible gun legislation, in my opinion. But I'm really trying to figure out why all of a sudden they're trying to elevate this individual who came across to me very Jimmy Swaggerish, very, very, I can't even find the words, but never really had a good thing to say about black and brown folks. I'm not going to sit here and even really give too much of my time or time of this show into talking about him. But let's talk about the ideology that he was putting out there. And let's get into that conversation because eventually that ideology was bought in by a lot of folks. That's why they're mourning his death now. Because I've seen a lot of people die I've seen a lot of legislators die. We haven't flew flags at half staff for people who were voted into the United States Congress.
I got one even better for you, Joe. There's people who have served in the United States Congress and Senate who never had a military burial.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I'm not going to talk about him, but let's talk about this
Yeah,
ideology.
but I,
Whatever
I
this.
think I think to go back to one of your statements that you said, and just me, I just have to be blunt, but it's their culture. They're
I'm actually
they
looking
they,
something
they
up.
don't want to destroy one another, right? So they know that the shooter, all the evidence is out. The shooter was a Republican, and his family come from Meg and all this other kind of stuff. But never ever in the history of America have any whites ever endorsed attacking other whites. But if you pay attention to history, whenever something go wrong in their community, they have to go find another community to blame, whether it was the native Indians, whether it's the blacks, whether it's the Spanish, something like they have to release their anger out on someone. I mean, like, look at the movie Rosewood. When you look at the whole movie, blacks ain't have nothing at all to do with the situation. But however, a lot of blacks got destroyed in the city of Florida. I mean, it's Summerton, Florida, or the Okie massacre that also happened in Florida, where they killed close to, like, I think it was something like 30,000, 35,000 black people over a story of a white woman, once again, allegedly got raped by a black guy. Found out it never happened, but they massacred a whole damn city and the city next to it. But that's just these people behavior. But I think his ideology comes from the people that existed before him. Everything is a taught behavior. No one wakes up in this world. Joe, you and I, right now, me and you can go have sex right now with a woman, Joe. In 9 months, when our babies come out, our babies wouldn't say, I'm a racist. Oh, I'm going to have 19 kids. Oh, I'm going to do drugs. Our babies don't know. They don't even know how to walk or talk. So the thing is, the people who taught him, and only legacy that I think that he ever left us is that he created more people like him.
Right. I'm trying to pull this up. Hold on. Just hold on. So I really want, and I've got to get this in here, and I don't want people to get mad, but I really want to hear what this man said. Now, once again, I'm not giving no credence to murder. I'll be the first one to say my prayers, my thoughts, my condolences go out to this man's family, to those who was his friend's family, because nobody should die at the hands of senseless gun violence. Nobody, him or anybody else, for just saying what they felt and saying what they thought was their philosophy. But I really want y'all to hear, and let me see, can I pull this guy up? I really hope I can pull it up in a manner that work here. Hold on. Give me a second. Let me see, can I make this bigger? That's another thing I'm trying to do. I haven't figured out some things yet. Uh
What would you consider senseless gun violence by definition, Joe?
listen, senseless gun violence is anytime individual murders anytime a person takes an individual's life and there could have been another way that the issue could have been resolved. To me, that is senseless gun violence. And a lot of stuff falls under senseless gun violence. A whole lot of stuff falls into that category. But I call senseless gun violence, me personally, I call senseless gun violence anytime that an individual takes another individual's life when there could have been another means of resolving the issue. It did not have to be
So that means if what you say you found to be true, that means all gun violence is senseless. Then
a great deal of it. I tell you, a lot of it falls into that category. Good morning, everybody. I see people logging in on Instagram. We are broadcasting live on Instagram, Facebook. We're on Twitter, X. We're on YouTube. You can follow us on all the platforms except YouTube at the JDMS. On YouTube, we're at 100 BLK Media. And I really want to see, can I get this? And I'm trying to see, can I get this? And I want to get it from a full perspective. And I hope y'all can hear this when I get it. Let me try it one more time. Hold on. I'm going to try it one more time. Okay, there we go. So I got that part of it. So let me see this. Hold on. Y'all just give me a second here. I really want y'all to hear this because this to me is deep. That's it. Just share that. Open up the vocals. Okay, I want y'all to hear what this man is saying. This is deep. I fully agree with what this man is saying. So y'all listen to
talk about this boy, Charlie Kirk, who got shot in Utah. Him getting shot in Utah makes him, I believe, American number 18,533 who got shot in the U.S. this year, shot and killed. And I think that there were 3 more people who were killed, shot and killed in Colorado, just over the mountains, within hours of his shooting. And all the flags in America are going to fly half-mast, not for those 18,335 other victims, but they're going to fly half-mast for Charlie Kirk. That's just an observation. You can do with it what you will. I'll be honest, when I first heard that he had been shot, I made a joke about it on X, because frankly, I'm just as used to theatrics coming out of America as I am used to gun violence coming out of America. And I thought that theatrics seemed more likely in this case. But when I did learn that he died, I deleted my post. I deleted it out of respect, not for him, but for the severity and for the solemnity of the judgment that he has now proceeded to. Because everything that he ever said and everything that he ever did that harmed anyone, well, he's going to answer for that. He's going to answer for that right now in his meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the heaviness of that meeting is disturbing to any of us who believe in it. But we'll talk about it. Let's start with the obvious, okay? First, I'm not going to feign grief or feign mourning for this person. I know that's a hypocrisy that social etiquette demands at a moment like this, but we all know that he would certainly not grieve for us. He certainly would not mourn for us, just as he never grieved and he never mourned for the wanton slaughter of the Palestinians in Gaza. He never grieved for that. And for myself personally, as a Muslim and as a critic of Western so-called civilization, I know that Charlie Kirk himself would most likely have officially anyway considered me to be his enemy. And as far as I'm concerned, any man whose enemy mourns him when he dies, well, he wasn't doing his job. And I don't think it can be said about Charlie Kirk that he didn't do his job, which is to say that he never did anything and he never said anything in his public life that would make me mourn his passing, just as I hope that I will never say or do anything in my public life that would make my enemies grieve for my passing. They should be happy when I die. Enemies are disturbed by each other's presence, not by each other's absence. But let me also be crystal clear about this. It doesn't make me happy either. I neither mourn nor celebrate. Neither of those reactions is appropriate, in my opinion. Whoever pulled that trigger didn't do it for me and they didn't do it for you. I don't even see them as being on 2 different sides. They didn't silence Charlie Kirk. They amplified Charlie Kirk. The power structure never cared about that boy. They used him. And he's more useful to them now than he was the day before. He's more useful to them dead than he was alive. Listen, you don't defeat someone like this, someone like a Charlie Kirk, a tool like him, by letting that tool mold you into exactly what they want you to be. That killer didn't deliver justice. If you think they did, he didn't. He delivered to the power structure an even more enhanced weapon. He made a mediocre, but dangerous and polarizing figure, Charlie Kirk, into now an impeachable icon for the very fan base that he most likely despises. And he made criticism of Charlie Kirk's ideas. Now it's disrespect for the dead. This is not resistance. This is a gift. This is a gift to the very security state that he probably thought he was attacking. No, it's stupidity. Or maybe, as the conspiracy theories are already speculating, what actually happened was just a purge of an expendable asset to create a more powerful symbol. Well, they'll use his death. Oh, how they will use it. They will use his death to paint every dissenting voice, every cry for a more just world. They'll paint it with the same bloody brush. They're going to use his death to avoid once again ever having to look in the mirror. They're going to hold Charlie Kirk's body up as a shield against any examination of the society that created him and the society that created his killer, the society that they made and that they rule. And you didn't do anything now but strengthen their hold on that society. They're going to use his corpse as a pulpit to preach from. And you just validated all the lies that they're going to be preaching. You understand me? Because listen, the truth is the Charlie Kirks of the world are not the enemy. The enemy is the society, it's the system, it's the power structure, it's the so-called civilization that creates boys like Charlie Kirk. I call him a boy because that's what he is to me. I'm 54 years old. That's what he is to me, or that's what he was. And also because he presented a childish, simplistic cartoon portrait of America that only a young boy could ever believe in. He presented an America without complexity, without guilt, without the burden of their terrible history. Well, that's a seductive product. And America has always been an eager market for that sort of a product. He existed because of supply and demand. You demand and the power structure supplies. The killer and the killed are the products of the same sick society. Kirk and his killer and the other 18,535 victims and their killers. And wallahi, if you don't clock this reality, if you don't understand this reality, and if you let yourself get swept up in all the narratives and all the counter narratives, then you might just end up being like one of them.
Mm. 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 Hey, so I stop it right there. That's just a little bit. And I'm in that same point of view. I'm not celebrating. I don't condone, but I'm not going to sit up here and I'm not going to fall into the narrative of all of a sudden making a man a martyr that I had absolutely no idea what his name was until this horrific incident happened in Utah. Period. So right now, HBCUs are still on high alert. Black schools are on high alert because somehow or another people have connected what happened in Utah with this white on white crime to black folks, black and brown folks having to do something with it, that we have now begin to receive threats on our institutions, on our people, and we have to be vigilant in what we do.
Well, Joe, it goes back to what I said, Joe. You know, like never in the history in America has there ever been an assassin that has been black. So we knew immediately who the assassin was. They knew immediately who the assassin was. But it's in their culture. We're not going to attack our own, but we got plenty of people we can pick on and release our anger and our stress on. You know, like, let's go over here and mess with these people and stuff like that. And a lot of people, you know, I was reading some of the comments, and most of the things people were saying that the black community was bullying the Republican Party or the white community. Bullying? Bullshit. Where was it bullying anybody? Bullying is when they created a tour over George Zimmerman and had him going around the country and white people buying teas and Skittles and having people sign them. That's what bullying is. Bullying is when they auction off the gun that killed Trayvon Martin and sold it for $600,000. That's bullying. Now, because we didn't have any empathy or we didn't have any compassion, we shouldn't have empathy or compassion for our oppressors at all.
Right.
At all. Some
Right.
people,
But
some people are excited. I'm not gonna say some people are excited, but I knew. I ain't gonna say I knew him, but I followed some of his BS like probably for like the last 2.5 years. I'm a person like I pay attention to my enemies. I'm in Republican groups. I'm in independent groups, Democratic groups. Like I'm in a lot of these groups, so I'm fully aware who he is. Same as Nick Fuentes, who they trying to make the new Charlie Kirk right now. I know who these people is. So when I found out what happened to him, there was no remorse. I was like sitting looking like, okay, let me see what's gonna be the next step. Let me see. Actually, I said, let me see how they gonna handle it. Not how we gonna handle it, but how they gonna handle it. And they handle it as the exact way that I thought they would handle it. Joe right now in these Republican groups, they're making him seem like he's the victim of the Democrat Party legislation that they pull and stuff like that. And on the second hand, they still saying that, oh, the Democrats was all right with Ukraine until the black people start killing. This the top two things that's going on in these Republican groups, right? And I'm
yeah,
like,
right.
this is quite interesting. You know, so our reaction, to be honest with you, Joe, our reaction is based off their reaction.
Right,
They
right.
wanted us to mourn and they
We
wanted us to feel sorry, and
right.
unfortunately, we
We are
can't feel
very
sorry.
we are being very reactive instead of being very proactive. And I like what this man, this Islamic brother said, from Palestinian Islamic brother said, because it made a lot of sense. First of all, you can't take on the Stephen mentality in this situation. For sure, Candy is dead. and all of a sudden you crying more for Monsieur Candy's death than you did the death of your own black and
For
brown
little
sister
baby, yeah.
and brother, right? So no, I'm not on here. I'm not on here, and I'm terribly disturbed. I'm terribly disturbed that a lot of black and brown folks that all of a sudden they elevate this man to a level of because of their Christianity or because of their religious feelings. I'm very spiritual. I'm very spiritual. My days of being religious are almost at a closing end. So I look at things a little bit differently. And I'm like, okay, in my spirituality, I mourn the death of this man from this perspective. Had that been myself or anyone I love, nobody should die at the hands of senseless gun violence, period. But that's as far as my spirituality goes.
Mm,
My spirituality stops right there. You
mm,
know, had that been Antonio Cope, who they were showing a video of, and Antonio was somewhere telling people, look, as a black man, this is how I feel. And a person from 200 yards away shoots Antonio Cope and kills him. I'm in full mourning. I'm in
mm,
full mourning for my brother. But I will not mourn a man who was spewing out nothing but hot hatred toward black and brown folks more than I would this brother right here, who I know loves me and loves my family. And if right now I was literally poor, broke, didn't have a roof over my head, this man would do everything he could to put a roof over my head, put food in my belly, and try to get me back on my feet. No,
mm,
I'm not going to mourn a man who would do less than that for me more than I would a man who would do that for me. I just
mm.
can't do that. I personally can't do that. That's why in my continued dialect amongst folks in this situation, let's talk about the ideology. Let's talk about the theology. Let's talk about what this man was really saying and how we were eating it up as truth. And let's
Well,
dissect that truth
well, well,
because the truth
well,
because the truth about the matter is the man was spewing out more hatred toward black and brown folks than he was love. So let's dissect the real truth and eat that truth up. Because once again, you're dealing with a president that is currently in office, and
let's shoot shot the same thing.
I have never disrespected President Trump. But he's
I,
the same man that said black kids are born criminals. They are born degenerates. Wait a minute. I hold it. I'm black. My children are black. My grandchildren are black. So you mean when they came out the womb, they were born criminals? No, I cannot stand here with a straight face and celebrate anybody who says something like that. I can't stand here with a straight face and say, yeah, but he's not letting the men go into the women's bathroom. The hell in a ham sandwich with that. Let's get
mhm.
down to what he said and let's deal with that truth.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
let us not validate foolishness with a part of the truth that makes you feel comfortable. Let's talk about the truth, nothing but the truth and the whole truth. But no, y'all don't want to do that. And then when a guy like me comes on here, all of a sudden y'all try to unvalidate me. Baby, you can unvalidate me all you want to until you buy StreamYard and make it that this monthly subscription I pay for allows me to broadcast to wherever I want to broadcast. Guess what? I'm here, baby, and I ain't going nowhere.
But the truth is, brother Joe, these people know what they're doing. Our
Mhm.
president, he knows exactly what he's doing. Is ready. The same thing with Charlie Kirk. Same thing with the new guy, Nick. But Joe, they can look themselves in the mirror, and they have, Joe. They have. Trust me, they have. Because we do it all the time. And when they look past the mirror, they be like, "Ah, this doesn't look good. It doesn't look good." However, though, it brings me attention. So they choose attention over whether or not what's
Listen,
good.
I constantly say pay attention to the propaganda machine. I
Yeah, that
constantly say
listen,
that. It's
listen,
20,
Joe. You know, like
hold on.
if you
One minute, one minute,
go
one
ahead.
minute. It's 29 minutes past the hour. We haven't got our guy. Elijah hasn't made it in with sports. I know Elijah is probably hurting. I don't know if he's even going to come in today, but should he come in, we may go from this conversation into sports, but we'll be right back to the conversation. Go ahead, brother Bowtie. Say what you're
Yeah,
going to say.
but Joe, when you look at it, Joe, like if when you get done, when we get done today, go on my Facebook, Joe. I
Mm-hmm.
think last night I had made a post about there's a new preacher, a white nationalist preacher, mega preacher. He said that white people need to start having conversations with their kids over the danger of being around black people, right? Now, I had made a post and I said, you know, there's things like this that we need to talk about because this guy considered himself a Christian. even Klansmen, there's a requirement in order to be part of the KKK to be a white Christian. And I said, something going wrong with this Bible, with this Christianity as a whole. And Joe, this white lady came on my post and she went way to the left, say, oh, what do you call us? I said, well, if I know you and I respect you, I call you by your name.
Mm.
And I said, and if I have to identify you, I would call you white to the police. I said, now, if I dislike you and you have done something to me, I'm going to call you a PAC, PAC. I don't know if you know what the acronym for PAC means,
Oh,
but I
okay.
said,
Okay. Oh,
that's what
okay.
I'm going to call you. I say, but most of the time when I know you, whether you're Hispanic, black, white, Asian, Chinese, whatever, I'm going to call you by your name. And I'm going to put a Mr. or Miss in front of it.
Hold on. And let's say this. Most folks are very hospitable. Prime example, I just left Fresno, California, and I was in Fresno, California, and the first thing I said my first day in Fresno is, I'm missing something. I've seen a lot of Asians. I've seen a lot of Hispanics. I've seen a lot
Africans.
of Caucasians. I said, I'm missing something in this equation out here in the San Joaquin Valley. Where
Mm,
my people at?
mm,
And guess what? There was pockets of them. And you have to understand, y'all can Google it. Fresno, I was in Fresno. Fresno County has 1 million people living in it. 1 million people lives in the county of Fresno, not in the city, but in the county.
mm,
So understand, I live in Lafayette City, but in the parish, which would be called county if it was anywhere else in the world, the county of Lafayette. There's not 1 million people living in Lafayette County.
mm.
And I saw pockets of us, but watch this. Still, I saw great human beings. Everywhere we went, everywhere we sit with, people were speaking to us, especially people of color. Now, every once in a while, the Caucasian folks, and we ran into some wonderful Caucasian folks. We ran into a Caucasian man who, when we went up to the court, we went to see Big Sherm,
Mhm.
General Sherman, the big redwood. So when we went to see Big Sherm, there was a Caucasian man who was married to an Oriental woman who really sit down and told us all about their journeys, their hiking. They were remodeling their house, and he gave us some great points. I didn't know when it was, watch this, 90 degrees in Fresno City, that you drive 1.5 miles and go 7,000, almost 8,000 feet up. And all of a sudden it winds up being 40,
40,
49
yeah.
degrees. I was up there like, man, it is cold up here. And it was because we were at a high elevation. To be exact, it even snowed. It even snowed this weekend in the mountainous areas of the San Joaquin Valley. They have a major fire going on. Some of the pictures I have posted, and I'll post some more, will show how nature has, we don't know. I think the fire was caused by lightning. I don't think it was man-made, but still how nature will purge itself, how some of those beautiful sequoias were charred. You could smell the charred bark as we went through the park. And I tell anybody, if you ever travel and journey, go see the beauty of this world. There is a lot of beautiful stuff, and we ran into a lot of great human beings. I use the word human beings. Here's why I call them human beings. When you speak to me and you don't speak to me because of my color or anything, you just speak to me because you realize that I walk on 2 legs like you. I breathe the same air you breathe and bleed the same color blood you bleed. Guess what? You realize, and we had a great time. We had human beings speaking to us all the time. Now, in this category of human beings, there are folks out there who has prejudices and have racial feelings. And we got to be real about that, and we have to be vigilant because of that. Because everybody smiling in your face may not have good intentions for you. They may be plotting and planning to put you in a pot and stew you like their name is Hannibal Lecter. There are people out there that do stuff like this. Understand, there's a saying, and they seem to always use it when it comes to black and brown folks and what we go through. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. In other words, if you out there dealing dope and you shooting folks in the street and you wind up leaving this world by that manner, there are folks who are non-melanated that will throw that in your face and say, well, that's how he was. You got to call a spade a spade. That's why the Islamic brother that somebody sent to me, that I sent to you, Brother Bowtie, that I posted, that I just finished running his rhetoric. I agree with his rhetoric. His rhetoric, even though I'm not Muslim, I agree fully with his rhetoric, because had you, Brother Marcus, Brother James Vincent, many of the folks that are on our lives right now, had we been shot in the same manner, Charlie Kirk would have not had one positive word to say about us in our departure from this world. All he would have said was, that's how they live, that's what they do, that's how they operate, period.
Which is the truth. Which is the truth. So I think we have to respect those that do have compassion and have to respect those who don't have compassion. Like, I think everyone is entitled, as they say, to their own opinion.
Right.
I don't think we should judge or consider, even like trying to convince someone to how to react to the situation. The only issue is that there's going to be more that's going to come. And once again, Joe, the positive thing is, the only positive thing about when I say there's going to be more going to come is that we still not going to have nothing to do with it.
Well,
now I do agree.
We have to
David.
be vigilant. We have to be vigilant, brother Bowtie, and we have to be observant to understand that though we have nothing to do with it, we may wind up being victims of unfortunate circumstances because folks will assume we had something to do with it. See, the propaganda machine was so lie. The first lie that was threw out there. Let's go through the lies. See, everybody want to talk about the truth be told. Let's talk about the lies that are out there that are being perceived as truth. First thing that was threw out there is this was done by some Democratic left-winged nut job that's out there promoting Democratic bull crap. That was the first lie that was put out there, and that lie has still not been redacted. That lie has not been taken back. So folk are out there right now. I ran into folks during my time in California, sitting down eating, eardropping on other people's conversation that was like, yeah, that's just terrible that crazy Democrat just killed Charlie Kirk the way they did. It hasn't been redacted. So people are still believing that lie. It's telling the truth. The truth is this young man came from a conservative household. He was a Trump supporter. They have many pictures of him with Trump shirts on saying that he support Trump. And for some odd reason, and only he can answer that question. I haven't got down into listening to the investigation or what's going on, but only he can answer that question of why he is doing what he is doing. Speaking of which, y'all put your hands together. I see you. She coming into the building. It's about time. I ain't seen a lovely face in a long time, but we happy that she's back for a minute. Y'all give it up for Sister Jax in Brick City, New Jersey. What's happening in Brick City, Jax?
What's up, family? What's up, family? How y'all doing?
Is that Mary J?
How you doing?
I'm doing well, y'all. Look, on the road bright and early once again. Just dropped my baby off at the airport. She came home for a few days. So been busy with her, but God is good. So I'm glad to be back for a sec. I just had to pop in and say what's up while I'm on the road.
Well, we're glad that you're back. Of course, we're into this deep conversation. Your daughter goes to Spelman. Spelman was one of the 15 HBCUs put on lockdown after this horrendous act of gun violence occurred in Utah that had absolutely nothing to do with black colleges or black universities, but unfortunately, black folks had to deal with it. People pay attention. That is Black America in the nutshell. We don't have jack to do with it, but we wind up being the ones who have to go ahead and take precautions and watch out for our babies, our uncles, our mamas, our daddies, our people, because of something that happened that had absolutely nothing to do with that. In other words, damned if you do, damned if you don't. So, folks, y'all better pay attention and wake up. Go ahead, Jack.
That's right. And like I was telling my daughter, she was saying how, Spelman was on lockdown, like you guys know. And she said, but the campus is always extremely, extremely secure, regardless. They barely let a parent on that campus, right?
That part.
But I still told my daughter, I said, guess what? They can still shoot from blocks away. So you still be vigilant. You still be aware of your surroundings and what's going on, because you never know. So, before she got out the car at 4:00 this morning, I'm like, you know what? Let's say a prayer. So we, prayed up, anointed my baby and said, you know what? May the Most High, keep a hedge of protection around her and all those other students always. So we got to,
because you don't know how these sick folks are. It's easy. Timothy McVeigh parked a truck full of bombs and blew up a whole building. So listen, like I tell folks, guns ain't the only violence you need to worry about these days and times. There's a lot of weapons of mass destruction that can cause mass chaos that folks have easy access to, or can Google and YouTube how to put it together, that a demented mind would say, listen, I need to blow this up, because that's what, once again, I don't know if were you listening, Jax, but I was saying the biggest thing in this whole thing is we're not dissecting the real truth here. We haven't even saw some of the redacted lies. The lie number one, and I call a lie, but you already know the president was known to tell many a lies, and y'all still love the man because he's y'all president. If that had been anybody else, y'all call him a liar, and y'all tell people don't listen to him. But now Trump can lie, and it's just lies are okay. But the first lie that was told is that this is a Democratic left-wing nut job. At the end of the day, that's a lie. This young man, this young man who did this horrendous act was not Democratic left-wing. He may be mentally unstable, but yes, he's definitely not Democratic or left-wing. So this always putting out there, and then to have the mitigated gall out of all the folks, and I put up there the Muslim brother who talked about all the individuals who died this year up to the time of Charlie Kirk by gun violence, the mitigated gall to mention just people who were white Republicans who got slaughtered, and not all the folks of all backgrounds who were human beings who died of senseless gun violence in this United States of America. Why we flying the flags at half mast for everybody? Everybody their life to senseless gun violence. And why don't we do responsible legislation that makes it that some of these folks may not have died because folks may not have been able to get their hands on the guns? So let's talk about that for a second. Getting your hands on the guns. A lot of guns are obtained illegally. So let's talk about that. So when you put legislation out there to protect the people who are in the right frame of mind, who legally gets guns, I ain't got a problem with you owning a gun. I just need to make sure that you're mentally stable to hold that gun, because I'm out there with my gun legally. And I don't need somebody illegally with a gun to have to get into a shootout with me, because first of all, chances are better than good. They didn't go and train like I did, nor do they have the discipline that I have to understand that when you pull that firearm out, you don't have to squeeze the trigger. I may have to pull it out, but that doesn't mean I have to discharge it. And because of the way a lot of them shoot, because they start squeezing the trigger like they do in the movies before they pull it in their pants, they be done shot themselves. Kids and themselves before they even hit me. So we got to do better, family. We just got to do better. Go ahead,
right.
Jack.
And you know what? In our community, we shun guns for the most part, right? In other communities, they train their kids up 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. They're getting guns for birthday presents and Christmas presents, and they're learning how to shoot at a young age. But for us, it's kind of like taboo. And then when they turn teenagers is when they want to do what their uncles and aunties was doing out in the street. Some of them, carrying guns and shooting with no real training or to even have respect for a gun, or let alone respect for lives of others.
I'm gonna shift this conversation just for a quick sec that I got you in here, Jax. People are talking about people are losing contact with the people or with the voters. Here's what I got to say to everybody. I don't care what your political affiliation is. I need somebody to start talking about how we get more jobs for these young folks. I need people to start talking about how we make this price at the gas pump go down. I need people to talk about how we make these grocery prices go down. I need people to be talking about how we make housing affordable and accessible, quality housing affordable and accessible for everybody. Now, I don't care what your political affiliation is, but if you ain't talking about jobs, better wages, controlling the price of inflation, and me getting a piece of land around here at a reasonable price at a reasonable interest rate, I don't give a damn what your political affiliation is. We can talk about CK all you want to. I give less than a damn. He is gone to be with his ancestors. I give less than a damn. Can we talk something for us living folks to have a better life? Now, take that, put it in your pipe and smoke it. I don't care if you're red, blue, elephant, donkey. I don't care if you're green. I don't care who you represent. You can be representing Space God and walk around with big old googly eyes talking about I'm about to zap some people with the 5,000 zapper. But can we talk about something that can make life better for folks here? I had to bring Space God in there. I love that dude.
I love that dude too. He got
that
great
dude
content.
be having me crack it up, man.
Yeah.
Hey, so that's why I'm saying, what can we do? What can we do to have the conversation to make life better for Jax? Jax has a daughter that is right now in college. What can we do that when she graduates, there is jobs to keep her at a place where she's not the living poor? Talk to me now. Talk to me.
And you know what's crazy, Joe? I think I ain't gonna say it's crazy, but what I think is quite interesting is that if we live by the promise or the, how can I say, the ideology that they try to tell us to follow, that you go to school, you do this, there'll be a job or careers waiting for you.
You talking about the pursuit of what?
Pursuit of happiness.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Come on, talk to me.
You know, we would think that these things would be waiting on us hand and feet, and which is like the biggest mythical lie that there's ever told. You know, just like America is a free country. I'm still waiting to see who said that before I can sue them, because I pay for water, lights, rent. Shit, I even pay for a peace of mind sometimes. But I wonder why we don't have it. But however, I also wonder why do we give away funding to other countries or give away jobs to other countries? Prime example, United States last year had sold 70% of their soybeans to China. China made products and resold them back to America. Whether it's the McDonald's hamburgers, or whether it's cheese, or whether it's lotion and stuff like that. Literally, China had brought 70% of our soybeans, got our soybeans, made products, and resold it back to us. I guess you could say they monopoly the whole market, but why can't America do the same thing? And what I like to think is, like, when you like the farmers, they have an issue with Donald Trump. And as I told you, Joe, I'm in these groups, right?
Right.
These white farmers, they believe that once Donald Trump got rid of an immigrant, and I promise you, Joe, I'll try to find this link and I'll try to send it to you. These white farmers believe that when they got rid of the immigrants, that the black people would come work on the farms. This is something that they believe in. And I'll be honest with you, Joe, I believe that black people probably would work on the farm, but you're not going to pay us no $6 or $7.
And see, that's where we want to hit it. The reason places like China, India, and some of these third world countries, even some places in Africa with very low incomes can do these things is because they have people who, listen, we have got accustomed to quality of life at a certain level. That quality of life is only sustained by a certain economic level of earning. There are people out there that are living on dirt floors who don't have running water. Guess what? For them to do the same work that you would do for $25, $30 an hour, they'll do that same amount of work for $2 an hour. Mm-hmm. Because $2 in their world is wealth.
Is enough.
Understand? Yeah. Until one day, and this is the spiritual Joe talking, until one day we finally do like they do in Star Trek and eliminate this money system, this world will always be exactly what this world is, because the system connotates the haves and the have-nots. Understand? Let's just be real about it. If Donald Trump right now, with all his assets, I think Donald Trump could literally, with all his assets and still remain a millionaire, probably cut a check to everybody in the world for probably about $10,000. Here's a $10,000 check from me just to you, because I'm so magnificent. I'm just so great, and great things are happening. So here's $10,000 from me to you, and still stay a millionaire. That's greed. That's greed. If I can cut a check to everybody in the world for $10,000 and I still stay a millionaire, then why is the world suffering? They are suffering because this system makes it that is the haves and the have-nots. And until we address that, until we stop pocket watching Bowtie, pocket watching Jax, somebody right now looking at Jax going, that sure look like a nice car Jax in. I should get that. Until we stop that bullshit. Until we stop that bullshit. Oh, it looked like a nice background there in Bowtie. Bowtie, where Bowtie be at? He be clean every time he come on here. And not knowing that Bowtie might have on a Walmart shirt. He might have on a hand tailored where he went and bought the cloth and put together the jacket and said, see, that's the problem. We too busy pocket watching each other instead of sitting down in think groups, think tanks, elevating each other, sitting down saying, okay, you're here, I'm here. You accumulated this much debt. How do we work on resolving your debt that turns your minus into pluses? See, we don't sit around talking about how we help our fellow brother and sister. We too busy trying to down our brothers and sisters. Talk to me, Jax. Jax over there nodding head. Talk to me, Jax.
Yeah, you know what? I love what you guys are saying. And when Brother Bowtie is saying, why can't America? The better question is, why won't America? So we understand, because then that goes back to what Joe was saying. America can do whatever they want to do, but they won't do it because of how the system was initially set up. It was set up to destroy us. It was set up to, I mean, everything on God's earth should be free, right? The air, the water, the food. I mean, fruit grows on trees, right? But we go to the store paying for all this crazy exorbitant prices for stuff that should be free to us. They don't even let certain species of trees grow here in America for the simple fact that they rather have it be outsourced than us get it from someplace else. Imagine how many homeless people could walk down the street in America, and if there were trees bearing good fruit for that they can eat and sustain just a little bit, but they don't want that. It's all part of the system.
It's
Yeah,
the
and now they
capitalism.
even setting up system and laws that even if you do grow, like in Miami, depending on what neighborhood you stay in, you can't even have a garden in your front yard.
Hey,
That's
Bowtie,
crazy.
Jax, listen to this. I'm big on sci-fi. Y'all know it. Go back and watch Dune Part 2. When the Emperor sits there and says, "Look, I got a problem. I got a problem on Arrakis. There is a prophet rising named Mohadeep. This prophet Mohadeep is causing problem on my planet." And here's what he says: "How do I handle this Mohadeep? I got a big army. Do I send my army in there to fight him?" His daughter break it down about how you really deal with. See, but the same thing his daughter broke down is what just happened with Charlie Kirk. He said, first thing you don't do is kill him. Because once you kill a prophet, when a prophet dies or a person people feel has a prophetic voice, and Charlie Kirk had a prophetic voice, once you kill him, he becomes more powerful than he was alive. And right now, Charlie Kirk got more power in the death than he did living ever. I'm telling you. So we got to pay attention to the movement. Y'all too busy looking at the person. I'm looking at the movement. And you brought up another name of the person they're trying to get to take over the
Nick
movement.
Fuentes.
Yeah, right. You got to watch the movement, not the person. And that's where I think we as black and brown people miss it. We so busy.
Joe, you know who's going to be hosting the Charlie Kirk show today?
Vice President J.D. Vance. Yeah. So watch this. We got to start watching the movement and not the person. Too many times, watch this. Stop pocket watching Bowtie, Jackson, Joe, and start asking yourself, what did they do to get to where they at? See, when you start breaking down the formula, watching the man or the woman don't do nothing. See, y'all too busy watching these Instagram models riding around, popping bottles, wearing iced out jewelry, showing all these hotels they at. Instead of watching them and being envious of them, ask you, how did they get there? Now, the truth about it is, a lot of them got there by means that maybe you aren't willing to do to get there, because a lot of them laid with a lot of folks who their life of sexuality and using their body as a sex as a sex product got them to where. Now, if you're willing to do what they did to get to where they get to,
just said it was prostituting, Joe.
Right, hold it. Right, I don't want to get ugly like that, but the truth is the truth. But the truth about it is, start asking yourself, how did a person get to where they got to? And ask yourself, are you willing to pay the cost or walk that path to get there? Because guess what? Mathematics are mathematics universally. If 1 + 1 is 2, it's 2 everywhere. So once you get the mathematical equation to get from point A to point B, you can get to the same place anybody else got to. You just got to be able to work out the equation and get there. Many of you don't want to work the equation out. Y'all want to cheat, lie, steal, and play games to get from point A to point B. No, listen, nothing. Rent is due daily, and hard work always pays off. The problem is a lot of you don't want to do the hard work.
That I was proud of, Joe, concerning the CK dude. What I really was proud of the CK dude dealing with our community. I have to be honest, Joe, and I made a post about this. It was the first time that I literally went 4 days straight and scrolled through all my social media, and I didn't see no black man bashing black women. I didn't see black women bashing black men. I haven't seen no fights. I was like, damn, I like this algorithm. Like, how can we keep this up? Which I know we ain't, but
Hold up.
But it was a beautiful thing to see it, though.
Oh, Brother Bowtie, I like what you said. The algorithm didn't show you that for 4 days, but in real life, those things were still happening.
Yeah, they were still happening.
Hold it. I want you to check what I just said right there. sometimes we're so caught up in this algorithm of social media and what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
We get blinded because we're so distracted watching what they telling us is going on that we don't realize what in real life is going on, which has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on here. This is our reality TV, and a lot of you are losing touch with reality because if you don't see it on social media, you said it didn't happen. But it be happening every day, and it has desensitized you. So when folks say, man, Black folks are dying just like that, well, I didn't see it on social media.
That's right. I know for
See,
me, I've been doing a somewhat of a social media detox lately. I've been so busy just with life and making moves and doing what I do that I literally might be on social media maybe 20 minutes a day, if that, you know. And it feels good. Like sometimes I'll go to, scroll or pop on or whatever, but it's the same old, and I'm like, I don't got time for this. I got too many other things to do right now, and so it's just a beautiful thing. And sometimes we just need to disconnect and reconnect in other ways, and then it will pay. I mean, even with too much social media, it's not good for your mental health. It's not good for your physical health, because you know what? You get lost scrolling. Before you know it, 2 hours went by and you didn't do a thing but sit there and scroll.
Hold it. So
we
let me
need
say
to
this.
disconnect
It's
from
4
a
minutes.
lot of things.
Hold on.
Yeah.
It's 4 minutes to the top. It's 4 minutes to the top of the hour. Jax, I thought about you this weekend. I was in the Sequoia National Park. And
Oh,
at elevation of 5,000 feet, there was a lot of people out camping in the Sequoia National Park. And first person I thought about was you and Burnell. I said, man, what Jax wouldn't do to be here at this. And they were out camping. It was good conversation. It was very few of us up there. That's what was really making me laugh. When people saw me and the guy I was with, one person even engaged us in conversation and said, what would make you come up here? When we said, why not? This is where human beings go. So sometimes you have to put the rhetoric in their mind. You know what? I breathe the same air you breathe.
Yep.
I wake up every morning and bleed the same color blood you bleed, and I stand up on the same 2 feet you stand on. The only difference is in us is the melanation of our skin. We're both human.
Right.
That's my new thing. I am reminding folks daily. There's no difference between me and you except the melanation of our skin. That's the only difference. That is the only difference that we have. We may have some psychological, some spiritual. We may have different philosophies, but at the bare bone basic, I have the same 5 fingers, the same 5 toes. I wake up and stand up erect just like you do.
I got you, but I beg to differ slightly. But you know what? Burnell and I actually we're doing another camping trip. We're gonna be going for 10 days actually. So we'll be out in the wilderness for 10 days. So
Where you guys going
we're
at?
I don't want to say on social media, but I'll let you know behind the scenes. But yes,
I'm a big camper as well. I go camping at least 2 or 3 times a year.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, I'm telling you, Joe and I talked about it before. We need to actually do a hashtag truth be told camping trip, retreat, whatever, and have a great time, because I know it will be phenomenal.
Right. Yeah, that part. So with that being said, it's 2 minutes to the top of the hour. I'm gonna start with Sister Jax because I'm so happy to see you. Jax, I got to get up out of here. I'm back to life, back to reality. Got to get back to work and back to school. So give me some closing words as we get up out of here.
Yes, everybody be blessed. Have an amazing day. It's Monday. Do something different this week that you've never done before, and don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. Make sure you love the life you live the life you love, and may your reality surpass your dreams. Peace out. I hope to see y'all soon.
That's what I'm talking about. I see Burnell. What's up, B?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, brother?
Yes, my dog. All right, y'all. we gonna holler at them later. Brother Bowtie, give me some closing words. Let's get up out of here, man.
What it is and what it ain't and what we gonna do about it. Let's talk about it. Let's do something about it. Hey, listen, in the midst of this chaos, let's find peace and let's still be great. I wish you guys the best. If you wish to support me, follow me at brotherbowties.com. I mean, Brother Bowties on all social media, Bowtie Untied. Thank you guys. Have a nice day.
Family, look, it is 1 minute to the top of the hour. I am back to the boot. I'm back in Louisiana. I am blessed to have had a wonderful time out in Fresno, California. Thank you to everybody at Fresno State. Y'all were so hospitable to the Southern University Jaguars. Of course, we went out there, did not come out with the victory, but had a great time, no injuries. And we're back. We're going to take a weekend off. No football this weekend for the Jaguars, but We're going to come back with the Boom Box Classic as Southern takes on Jackson State. Next week, I may not even do a show next week. I'll be in school. I'll be in school, and I got to look at what the school schedule look like. See, will I be able to even do a show? Not next week, but week after. This week we'll be here, but next week we may not. But I'll let y'all know what's going on. We are back in studio this week, and all I got to say is what I always say: be better today than you were yesterday. Do something today to bless somebody somewhere that no matter what you do, there's no earthly way they could ever pay you back. And always remember that there is no secret what God can do, what he has done for others, he will and he can do for you. For when God is with you, nothing or no one can stand against you. So on behalf of myself, Sean P. with the Sean P. Experience, Elijah Nixon with sports, Brother Bowtie, brother who is in Berlin. He broke in Berlin, but he's doing his thing. Jason Washington, and to our two sisters, Sister Jax, who came on today, and Sister Alethea. We are hashtag Truth Be Told, and we wish you nothing but peace, love, and happiness, and have a great day. Great start to your week. We up out of here. Peace.